So for the longest time, I thought that the hardest muscle to train were my legs and my abs, but I was wrong. It turns out the most difficult muscle to work out is not even physical at all. What's up, guys? We're not in my bathroom today. We are at my cool little YouTube desk setup thing, but anyways, we're gonna jump right into it. So before I tell you guys about this muscle that is the utmost important to train, that is not physical, 4 things that the gym taught me. One is consistency. You can't hit your goals without consistency and showing up when it's very hard to, when you don't feel like it. So that goes hand in hand with consistency that involves the days that you don't feel like going. And 3 is sacrifice. In order to do these things, you have to sacrifice time, hobbies, all sorts of things. Doom scrolling, your video games, you're going out to the bar, whatever it is that's unnecessary, or even things that are harder to sacrifice. 4 is progressive overload. So you could be making sacrifices to be consistent and show up even when you don't feel like it and not be hitting progressive overload. At some point, it's gonna be a waste of time because you're just gonna be running in place. And yep, some working out's better than no working out, but you're not gonna hit your goals. If you're really trying to build more muscle, really trying to get to the next level in your fitness journey, you're not going to be able to do that if you're not training with progressive overload, if you're not adding on more weight, more reps, new exercises, expanding your knowledge and your versatility. Your body is going to eventually adapt to what you've been doing, and it's just going to become a less effective workout as time goes on. Even after I learned those 4 things and they trickled into my personal life and my spiritual life and improved them and fed into each other, it still only trained a part of myself. The muscle that I'm referring to is self-control. The muscle of self-control is spiritual, it's mental, it's physical, it's metaphorical, it's figurative, it's everything. Okay, because those 4 things that I learned, it required some self-control to learn those things. And learning those things gave me more self-control. Going to the gym takes self-control and it gives you self-control. It builds it over time, but there's a cap to how much self-control the gym can teach you and feed into your personal and your spiritual life. Because the best teacher of self-control isn't the gym, it's God. And if we study His Word, we can see in Hebrews some great verses about self-control and discipline. Right here in Hebrews 12, verse 4, it says, God disciplines His children. In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood. Have you ever resisted sin to the point of shedding your blood? I don't think that I can say that I can. And I don't know about you, but that sounds a hell of a lot more difficult than fighting for your life to hit a new bench PR. Sounds a hell of a lot more difficult than waking up early in the morning to hit the gym before work or after a long day at work. If you're struggling in your personal life against sin, just think about how much work you've put into the gym. You could put in a lot of work in your spiritual life as well with God's help. Do it with Him. And also, if you're struggling with the gym and you feel like you're doing better in your spiritual life, then that proves that you've shown great resistance, right? So why can't you apply that to the gym as well? And the next verse says, and have you completely forgotten this word of encouragement that addresses you as a father addresses his son? It says, my son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline and do not lose heart when He rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines the one He loves, and He chastens everyone He accepts as His son. So don't be discouraged. Take it as an encouragement and let it fire you up from within to carry on. Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as His children. Think about this inside the gym and outside the gym. Whether you're struggling with a certain sin or your work life or your relationships, this applies to all. For what children are not disciplined by their father? If you are not disciplined and everyone undergoes discipline, then you are not legitimate, not true sons and daughters at all. That and everyone is disciplined, that wasn't just me saying, that's written here as well. Moreover, we have all had human fathers who disciplined us and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for our own good in order that we may share in His holiness. And right here is the main part that I was going to point out before I decided to just go through the whole chapter. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. And let's face it, guys, whether we're struggling with sin, whatever our struggles in life, if we're trying to progress in the gym, how much easier do you think that's going to be when we have peace in our heart, when we're trained by discipline, when we have been producing a harvest of righteousness? And right here, this part makes me laugh. It says, therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. I say that goes for physical, spiritual, everything. Make level paths for your feet so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. And this is a Life Application Study Bible. It goes over the verses that we just read, and it has commentary that I also love. It says right here, long distance runners work hard to build endurance and strength. On race day, their clothes are lightweight and their bodies are lean. In the ancient world, in fact, runners competed naked. Didn't know that. To run the race that God has set before us, we must also strip off the excess weight that slows us down. How can we do that? Choose friends who are also committed to the race. Non-believing friends will have values and activities that may deter you from the course. Now think about if you're trying to change your life by getting into the gym and getting in shape, and all of your friends are totally okay with being overweight and they have no intention of hitting the gym. They just love eating tons of junk food. They want to barbecue the worst of the worst foods all day, every day, invite you all the time, drink tons of beer. Imagine if your entire circle of friends was like that. It's probably going to be a lot harder for you to get in shape, huh? And so the same goes with our spiritual life, guys. We got to have our community. We got to have our people of like-minded people that are fighting the same demons, that have the same goals in mind, or else it's just going to be a lot more difficult. Drop or curtail certain activities such as continually checking messages, spending hours a day watching shows or playing video games or shopping for non-essential items. They may be adding unnecessary weight. Try dropping them for a while. So you're trying to hit a new bench PR, but you're also carrying all these useless hobbies, all these useless bad habits that are slowing you down, not just in the gym, but in your spiritual life as well. Try dropping them for a while, then check the results in your life. Get help for the addictions that disable you. If you're struggling with dopamine addiction, whether that come in the form of corn, excessive video games, junk food, drinking, drugs, remember that when we're working hard and we're doing a good job overcoming over a long period of time, we may hit burnout. We may get tired. Remember, we got to rest in God as well. So we don't just work and be productive in a godly way. We got to rest in a godly way. When God created the earth after 7 days, did he kick back and start smoking some weed and playing some video games to rest? No. It doesn't actually say what he did to rest. I don't know. I don't know. Does God sleep? Jesus slept. I don't know. But it says that he rested. And in the Bible, it talks about a lot of people that followed Christ resting and enjoying the toils of their hard work by enjoying a delicious meal or spending time with family and friends or simply just taking a nap. And sometimes we gotta go play video games or do these other things because that's what our brain is telling us is rest, because that's what we're conditioned to and that's what we're used to. And let's face it, guys, sometimes it's not as restful as we think it is in our mind when we're anticipating it. One time I was like coming home from a long day at work and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna relax. And I put on the new Resident Evil game, and let me tell you, it was everything, but it was anything but relaxing. Basically, I just had a panic attack for 2 hours straight and was way more exhausted afterward. And then you go to bed late if you choose to game late at night. You're already sleep deprived, and you're sleep depriving yourself even more because you're super exhausted. Your body already told you that it was time for bed. You force yourself to stay up, so now it's carrying on into the next day. You're gonna wake up later in the next day, even though you slept plenty of hours, because you didn't go to sleep with the sun, you didn't wake up with the sun, so your circadian rhythm's off, and it's a vicious cycle, guys. So sometimes you just need a nap. Sometimes you just need to go to bed, put on some scriptures on YouTube, listen to it as you fall asleep. Sometimes you need to pray. And when you start resting in God and abiding in God, sometimes then it becomes easier, kind of like the gym. And after a while, you start looking forward to resting in God in these ways that honor him. You want to watch some TV? At least watch something that's going to honor him, right? Put on some Pure Flicks or something, or at least something that's not going to dishonor him, right? And just don't be too excessive at it. Don't make a habit out of it. But you get the idea. If you have a secret weight such as corn, gambling, painkillers, or alcohol, admit your need and get help today. Bring it to the Lord. Talk to Him. Talk to your pastor. Talk to your friends. Anyone that you trust. This muscle of self-control, it comes with being trained in discipline and suffering. It feels like suffering because it is suffering. Suffering provides the training ground for Christian maturity. It develops our patience, makes us realize our need for Christ. It strengthens our resolve, encourages humility, and ensures our final victory. So these readers that were reading this chapter were facing difficult times of persecution, but none of them had yet died for their faith. Though many Christians would die in the future because they were still alive, the writer urged them to continue the race. Just as Jesus Christ did not give up, neither should they. Because who loves his children more? The father who allows them to do whatever they want without restraint, or the one who corrects, trains, and even punishes them to help them learn what is right? No one likes to be corrected and disciplined by God, but his discipline shows his deep love for us. When God corrects you through his word, circumstances, or other people, see it as proof of his love and ask him what you need to learn. We may respond to discipline in several ways. We can accept it with resignation. We can accept it with self-pity, thinking we really don't deserve it. We can be angry and resentful towards God. We can accept it graciously, letting it accomplish its purpose in our lives. And so that is all for today's workout, guys. Thanks for watching. And let me know if you have any comments or any questions, or if you want to hear me discuss anything else. Leave a comment below. I'd love to chat with you.